Okay, so we're in the greenhouse. I just got back from a 3-week being gone, and I wanted to start some seeds with you guys. And I call this is my book of gold. I love John Maxwell. Talks about at a conference one time. He was going to say some important information, and he calls it gold. So every time I compile a book like this, it's my gold, because everything's in one place and it's ready to be utilized. And I put the months in here, and then I have different categories. So as I work on something, I just put phone numbers or businesses or places, like anytime I've gotten something from somewhere. And then as well, I have the months, so what you need to do in each month. A different breakdown I do is this calendar. So we're at the end of March, and when I look at a seed packet, I look at when it can be planted. So I have these shorthand direct sow for indoors. And then I will write it multiple times, so as the month goes, and I'm not looking backwards like, oh, I can plant carrots again. I'm just looking at, okay, this week I can plant all of this stuff. I haven't started much because I knew that I was going to be gone for a couple weeks, and that has kind of messed with my planting. So I am going to get started, though, on some stuff today. And my cat is feeling like he needs a lot of love. No thanks, Pete. Okay, so we are definitely going to do things like spinach, kale, because those are cold season and they can handle a little bit of. Also, we need, this is my favorite. I love tomatoes. And we do need to start some of these. So last year I had a lot of success with the smaller ones because the bigger ones kept getting little bugs in them. But I had that problem the year before as well. The little ones don't seem to have that problem. So I'm just gonna escort Petey out so he's not in the way. Alright, so we are gonna do those pear tomatoes. These ones did amazing last year. Sunray were good. All of these small yellow ones, we had a ton of yellow ones last year. These are the ones I really wanted to plant. The 42-day, because I'm getting a little bit later start than I did last year, I think these ones will still, they don't need as long to mature, so they're still going to do fine. I think I might skip these black crim ones this year. I want to try the tomatillo again. I probably won't do as many of them, but they, like, the skins were gorgeous and beautiful, but the actual fruit part didn't get as big. So I also probably need to plant less tomatoes than I did last year. So we'll see. Okay. I have a property that I'm going to be meeting with the person to see if I can be planting on in their lot. It is a little bit further away from home though, so I want to. Oh, we have so many zinnia seeds downstairs. Sorry, I'm thinking here. So they're half an hour away from home, so I need to make sure it makes sense. But it could be a great opportunity to grow some root vegetables and some squashes that don't need regular maintenance. I also have a bunch of arugula seeds downstairs. I just planted some asparagus starts yesterday, as well as bleeding hearts. It's something my mom grew. And then one other thing, some onion starts. So Brussels sprouts need to get started right now. Beets. Some of these root vegetables I'm going to wait until after I meet with the gentleman to see about the property, and then I'll probably start a bunch of that. Broccoli does need to get started. Cabbage needs to get started. Oh, we could start carrots. I just read that onions are a really good companion to carrots. So we're going to try that. Cauliflower. Oh, it looks like this is my only lone bag of cauliflower. I really want cauliflower and broccoli this year. Celery. Last year I overplanted celery so much. It was one of those things where it sprouted a lot more than I anticipated. But then they never got big. And I also learned that's because they're not a summer vegetable. They need the cooler spring or fall temperatures. I really want some of this chamomile to grow. Chia, chive, cilantro. We could probably... I love... This is from my garden, and this is from the store, so we'll try a little bit of both of that. Coffee, collards, like... Some of this stuff I haven't grown. I don't know how to cook it. But I do know it's a spring crop, and I want to grow it. Some of this stuff that's just longer season. So I'm going to look back at my calendar here. We are at the end of March. So we can be planting beets, carrots, eggplants, broccoli, marigold, cosmos, butterfly milkweed, holy basil, collards, kale, cauliflower. I'm probably not saying that right. Arugula. Okay, so some of this stuff I might not need to do quite yet, but eggplant, I will. Eggplant isn't a favorite. It doesn't. It's kind of hard on my body, just from experience of how my body reacts to food and listening to it. But I like the variety. Okay, I just read Cosmos, right? Yeah, so let's do some of those. I really want some of these cottage garden. Oh, butterfly milkweed, I just read that. Oh, sunflowers. Oh, okay, sunflowers are my absolute favorite. They did amazing last year. Hollyhock I have not been successful with, and I know they need a cold period, so I don't know. I might need to start some of those in the fridge. Okay, kale, definitely start right now. I just read this. Again, this is another one I've never done anything with. The color, I always call it cauliflower, but I don't know if I'm saying that right. Some of this stuff is like, maybe get it from the grocery store and see if you like it. Not see if you like it. That's a terrible way to say that. See what you can do with it. See if you can find a way. So then you're not, if you don't like it, you're not sacrificing your homegrown. Leek is another one. It was an earlier plant date. I didn't know about leeks. I didn't know I liked them until I tried a recipe from one of my paleo cookbooks, and turns out I love it. So definitely doing that. Okay, lettuce. We're just planting all of the stinking lettuce because we didn't get any lettuce last year, and I'm so sad. And I think the biggest thing that was different was I put starts in the ground last year versus just direct sowing them this year, and I direct sowed them 3 times and they never grew. When last year I put starts in the ground and they were amazing. So this is 120 days. Yes. Okay, marigolds. I have so many marigold seeds of our own that I do want to try again. Try to plant. It's so amazing. It's like one of the most amazing things to get your own seeds and replant them. Okay, so a lot of this stuff, like melons, like don't transplant as well. And I think that the greenhouse needs to be a little bit warmer consistently for me to plant some of that stuff. Mint doesn't need to. Okras. I haven't seen it on my calendar yet, so I'm going to hold on to that one. Onions, I think I can start. Carrots, lettuce, radish, turnip, Swiss chard, sweetmeat squash. Ooh, okay. This is the part where I sometimes overdo it. I want to obviously plant all of this stuff. But I might need to hold out. Okay, we're gonna start with this. This seems to never fail. I turn around and I'll have a bunch more seeds stuffed in pockets somewhere, and I think, oh, I want to plant this too, and this, and this. So like I already have an open cauliflower. I need to do that first. Oh my word, look at all these seeds, which is such a joy. Such a joy. Peppercrust is amazing in my house. Okay, let's get started. My greenhouse is an atrocious disaster, so I'm going to spend a moment and pick this up, and then we'll have space to lay out these seed trays. Okay, I got my trays used, and I've used them, and so they are very, like some of these bottoms don't really hold the dirt. Once the roots grow, it's just fine, and the roots actually hold the dirt in place enough to just pop them out. So as long I have found as I have something underneath of it, I can't really move these trays by themselves. Like if I wanted to pick this up and put it over there, it's not gonna work very well. But once I have little starts in there, it works just fine for what I need it to. It keeps them separate, and this soil that I'm using is not necessarily my top pick. It was actually on clearance at the end of the season, and we got it for like $3 a bag or something, like a really good deal on it. And so it's, I don't know, I feel like at this point in my life, in this journey of gardening, that I use what's available and accessible and affordable, and that's not always preferable, but I figure that it's the value of what I'm growing and how much, you know, even if there is some fertilizer in this bag, that me growing it myself is saving so much chemicals from being put on it, on the food that I'm eating, that it still makes it worth me doing it at home, even though it's not, you know, the highest quality. So I am all about teaching and empowering people to start right where they're at, and this is where I'm at, and so I hope that'll change someday, but for now I'm thankful for clearance soil. So I did find some of these labels. I cut up milk jugs and I just make them into little tags, So, and this already has cosmos and butterfly milkweed, which is two of the things that I had pulled aside here. So let's see if I can find them. And then we'll just see how many I have and fill up the spaces. These seed packets you can get at the dollar store. Oh no. Okay, well, I only had like 2 in here. So, you can get these little blue seed packets at the dollar store, and they're now the $1.25 store. For $1. They usually get picked over really quickly. I have checked this year. I feel like you have to go like in January to find these. I'm going to go ahead and put the cottage garden in, since that Cosmos packet only had 2 in it. They go quick, but it is worth it. And a lot of people say, well, I want heirloom or whatever. You can get heirloom at the dollar store. So also like Walmart, you can get a good deal, not nearly as good as the dollar store deal, but I think people sometimes discount it because it's the dollar store and they think that there's not that much quality there. But I usually just make a little press spot, just from trying to get the seed in there, and then I'll push the dirt down far enough to where I can just go back over it with like one more handful of dirt over the whole tray. I'm not familiar enough with flowers to even know these seeds, what will grow from each of these seeds. So it's kind of a fun experiment. Honestly, I have tried to just scatter seeds for years and like hope that they'll grow, but I don't think I'm a consistent enough waterer for that to be successful. So I just I have found, for me, even though it might seem like more work, that I've had more success planting and then watching them come up in these little trays and then transplanting them where I want them. And then by that time it'll be warm enough for everything to survive outside. We officially had the first day of spring the other day, 3 days ago. Also, another thing I did last year was planted all these flower seeds, and I had no idea how ginormous these flowers were going to get. So I planted them in locations thinking they'll be like, 6 inches tall, or a foot tall like a marigold, and then it turned out that these flowers are 4 feet tall. They were gorgeous, but not in an ideal location for that. So that, and then I don't think, it looks like I tried to plant some last year, but it doesn't look like, I don't remember this being successful last year, so I am hoping I'm going to start on this back side so that I can just fill in with the cottage garden, whatever. I'll just work my way backwards again. So the first year I didn't actually grow any flowers. I thought that it was a waste of space, honestly, because I wanted to grow food. And last year I grew sunflowers, some, including sunflowers, but I was so in love, and there's like so many benefits to growing flowers. Attracting pollinators and pollen for the bees, and just the enjoyability of the garden. I think we sometimes forget with a thin layer just to cover up those seeds. I might be able to be a little bit more rough with it if it was if these trays were a little bit more sturdy, but okay, one tray down. So the first year, this is how the lettuce was successful, because the seeds were old. I was so certain that they would not all sprout. I didn't want to put them in a little tray like that and give them their own spot when I, again, was certain that they were not all going to sprout. So I put them in a big tray, and I would say most of them sprouted, which I was not anticipating. But then the next year, like I said, I direct sowed them, and it didn't work out the same. So I'm just going to do the same thing here, put them all in the way it was successful before, and once they sprout, I'll transplant them. I'm just going to scoop a little bit of this off to okay. These seed packets are also old, so I'm not super attached to the seeds. Like, you know, I want to account for some of them not germinating because they are old, which, like I already told you, didn't seem to hinder them last time I did this, but now they're another year older, so. Some of these are mixes anyway. I don't know where you live, but I know it's becoming more common that the libraries have seeds. It's a seed library, so you just go into your local library and you check out seeds. You like write your name down and tell them how many you got, and it's just, you don't have to bring seeds back, but it's part of community building, and you grow it, and then you let some go to seed, and then you bring some back the next year. So it's a really cool way to have access. If you're local, we have a really cool nonprofit called Growing Neighbors, and it's based around growing food and building community around growing food, and I love it. So I do have this second tray just to give it a little more stability this time. So this is all lettuce, and it'll come up just packed full, and then I'll go ahead and split it from there. This we'll do. I like doing a little smaller ones when it's just going to be separate. Like when I'm only going to plant probably 6 cauliflower, I'll just keep that separate. So instead of trying to label and forget what's in where in those big trays. I love those big trays for something when I want to plant, 100 sunflowers or something. So one of my tips on growing is grow what you eat. Like if you want to have a garden, grow what you eat first. It makes way more sense, and it'll replace something that you're eating. So when people say it's so much work, to me it's not really, because it's just replacing something else I would be doing, right? Like I spend less time in the grocery store less often because I grow food, and I think there's definitely a time of you should definitely grow things that you don't currently eat, because you should experiment, and how I said with leeks is you'll learn how to use it. If you grow it, you'll learn how to use it. But you have to have enough familiar things that to balance it out. So I remember this thought when I first started, I eat oatmeal for breakfast every day. But if you're growing food, then maybe you change what you eat for breakfast, because you don't see the value if you're eating oatmeal every day and then you're growing lettuce and cauliflower and you're still eating oatmeal every day. So you just change. Change your habits, change what you eat, so that it makes it valuable. It's so exciting from year to year. I've grown cabbage before, and it was like 2 heads, but it's exciting to see, and as I learn, when you grow 2 heads, it's more of a novelty than it is a replacement of groceries. But then when you build your confidence that you can do it, I had some kale in the basement, that had actually amazing root system, and I went ahead and put them outside. And then it got super cold again. So I don't know if those will survive, but some of them seem to be doing all right. Some of this, like, I know I want to do a whole flat of this. So we're going to grow a bunch of stuff just to share with the neighborhood. So I know I'm going to need extra. I might. Let me see. I've actually never successfully done carrots either, although I've planted them multiple times. So I'm actually going to do that in this little one. And then I know I want to do more kale, so we'll see what comes up out of that. Carrots is one you can succession, so so if those work, I'll do a bigger. Okay, we get to water this stuff, and I'm not completely done, but I'm done for now.